Hello, workmates. Welcome to Work and Talk in PH, your go to podcast for lifestyle insights, career convos, and real estate realness, where chill convos meet real life lessons because hashtag it works.
I'm Julio. Today we're talking to Patch Dulay, founder of the Spark Project, a platform that has helped countless Filipino entrepreneurs bring their ideas to life. Welcome, Patch. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Julio.
Thank you for
Glad to
having
be
us
here
Yeah,
and
in your office.
guesting
Yeah.
in your podcast.
Awesome.
Here.
I want to get to know you more. For listeners who may be hearing your name for the first time, how would you briefly introduce yourself and your role at the Spark Project?
Okay. I haven't done this in a while, but yeah, I'm Patch. I'm the founder of the Spark Project. We are entrepreneur support organization. We help social enterprises and creative conscious businesses get started. And yeah, turning or sparking ideas into reality. So I've been in this kind of space for the past 12, 13 years. I started the Spark Project in 2013.
Okay, how would you describe creative function?
Okay.
This is the first I've heard.
Yeah. So I would describe, our community or the people that, the entrepreneurs that I work with to be creative conscious. So kind of put those two adjectives together.
Uh-huh.
Adjectives, ba?
Yeah.
Adjectives together to describe them. Because I was like, okay, throughout the years, I've been meeting with a lot of these entrepreneurs, founders, and I feel like the common thread for them, I would describe them as creative because they use their creativity to turn their ideas into reality, and their ideas are out of the box or like innovative, creative. So I would describe them as creative people, conscious naman because through their businesses, through their ventures, they are more conscious or mindful about their impact in society and the community and the planet. So, and those are the two things that I feel are unique and for me also important for me to see in the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So just putting it both together, na you're not just conscious but you're also creative. You're not just creative but you're also conscious. So conscious,
I
creative,
understand.
creative, conscious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's cool. And you brought these artists, these creatives, and you combined it with your interest in web and tech.
Mhm.
What first sparked that curiosity, and how did that influence your early career choice?
Yeah. So back in college, my course that I took was management information systems. So IT background. So I started out my career also as an IT professional, an IT consultant. But my interest and curiosity towards things beyond the systems, the IT systems, needed to be scratched. So that
Yeah.
itch that I wanted outside of IT, which is the web, still IT, but like web, social media, which was like I was emerging during that time. I wanted to explore that more, and then that's why I went to pursue further studies. I went to France to study global e-business, which opened me up to the broader IT world and the startup world, so the tech startup. So from there, after studying, I went back to the Philippines, reconnected back to the community here with that newfound knowledge and experience. But here in the Philippines, I got introduced to entrepreneurs. I started going to like different community meetups of startups as well as social enterprises. So during that time, 2013, there was also an emergence of social entrepreneurship. So, and I've been like ever since college, I've been exposed to things outside of the four corners of our school.
Yeah.
And it's being more socially aware of the realities, and also my experience in abroad in
Yeah.
France also opened me up to the realities of Filipinos overseas. So parang bringing that together, like my background in IT, but also my willingness to kind of change the narrative for the Filipinos was kind of evident. And then the more that I exposed myself to the startup and social enterprise community, the more parang the idea of putting something or like initiating something started. So I was thinking, toying like bouncing off ideas. Na parang what can I do with my background and with what I want to achieve. So that's where the Spark Project came about, because when I was abroad, I was introduced to the concept of crowdfunding and crowdfunding websites. So
That's really
yeah, so these are websites that allow entrepreneurs, creatives, kind of pitch their projects online and
Yeah.
for people, the crowd, to support them. So if they see their projects online and if they want to support the project, they resonate, let's say, with the project of this creator, I would back this project. I would put money into this project to help that person get started. So
Yeah, that actually answers my next question. But since you explained that that's how France kind of inspired you to do this, how did you know that there's a market in the Philippines to work as the crowd? Because at least for me, I don't know. My initial thought was, would I give money to a random business? I'm not really sure. What kind of market were you targeting there?
I really also didn't know
Yeah.
if there was a market for it to
Yeah.
begin with here in the Philippines. What I do know is that you should give it a try because the time that I spent, going to these meetups and meeting entrepreneurs, one of the common things that I hear from them are their challenges of funding their actual venture. But also, I noticed that there are a lot of ideas out there that are worth pursuing.
Yeah.
So if that's the only thing that's stopping them from making or turning their ideas into reality, you should give it a try. So when I started the Spark project, put up the crowdfunding tab, it was also for us a learning experience. We didn't know who would pick it up or who would support these projects, but we did extra. We put in extra effort to support these entrepreneurs and helping them put together a crowdfunding campaign that would be on our site and help them kind of like mobilize support from the crowd. And we were able to attract some supporters. And over the years, kind of grew that community. It's not compared, I guess, it's not as big as other countries would have, but it's enough for us to continue running the crowdfunding website.
Are there ways that you give back to the crowd that funds?
So in exchange, so if you have projects on the site, there's an entrepreneur who puts their idea project on the site, and then the crowd that supports them, when they support the entrepreneur, in return, the entrepreneur gives them a reward. So we call it a reward. So usually the rewards are the actual products of the business.
So it's just like they bought the product.
Yes, and the novelty of this activity is that they get to. It's an opportunity for the project creator or the entrepreneur to give these rewards before it goes out to the market.
Wow! So it's like a pre-sale.
It's a pre-selling.
Yeah.
You can think of it as that. It's a pre-selling, or it's also they can also use it to give rewards that are limited edition. So like rewards that they can only see or that they can only access through the crowdfunding campaign. Because after the crowdfunding campaign, they won't produce it anymore or they won't offer it to other people. So there's a level of exclusivity and also like a first mover kind of experience. So the crowd, gets incentivized for supporting a project before it even.
Now that you put it that way, I actually see that there is a market for that for sure. Because a lot of people like unique stuff.
Yes.
A lot of people like one of a kind.
Yeah.
And was the Spark project like an original idea, or was it something else and then it grew into the Spark project?
The Spark project was heavily inspired by Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform based in the United States. They started in 2009.
Yeah.
And actually, it was during that time when I was having my master's in France where I stumbled upon Kickstarter, and which inspired me to, bring it to the Philippines because there was no crowdfunding platform in the Philippines.
yeah.
And Kickstarter didn't reach the Philippines. Like you have to have a US bank account to be able to put up a project on Kickstarter. So it was heavily inspired by that. But also we wanted to localize the experience and localize the service of crowdfunding here in the Philippines. So for me, I wanted it closer to, what I believe in, the kind of projects that I want to see. And since my heart draws closer to social enterprises, creative and conscious endeavors, I wanted to curate the projects on the Spark project to be that.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I find that so exciting that you took the risk of bringing something from the States and you found the market for it, and that's very exciting actually. I mean, the Spark, that's not just about crowdfunding anymore. As you explained earlier when we talked, it's more about helping entrepreneurs. What kind of programs and projects are you most excited about running with entrepreneurs now?
Yeah. So over the years, since we started in 2013 as a crowdfunding platform, we saw that what we can provide inside the community can be so much more than just crowdfunding.
Yeah.
So slowly we expanded our services to incubation activities. So we design and implement incubation programs or capacity building programs for entrepreneurs so that they can start, spark, and scale their different endeavors.
And
Mhm.
these entrepreneurs, they pay one-time pay.
Mhm.
Is it like a monthly or
Mhm.
is it royalties?
We do have we in the past we would run workshops, so those are usually paid workshops.
Yeah.
But recently, what we do is that we partner up with different organizations who share the same mission. So some of them are private organizations, some of them are foundations who fund these capacity building incubation programs for entrepreneurs so that we can make it available to entrepreneurs for free.
Wow, I see. And you're just really giving them a boost to start.
Yes.
Okay. And what made you decide to go beyond funding, focus on helping them
Mhm.
those ways?
I think it was a natural progression to, I guess, our journey as a crowdfunding website. Because at the core of it is we wanted to help creators, entrepreneurs get started. And, the more that we expose ourselves to them or the more that we get to know them, we learn that it's not just funding or it's not just
Yeah.
money that prevents them from getting started. Or sometimes they already started, but in order to grow, they need other things. So they need other resources, other like even knowledge, mentorship, other interventions that can help them become a better entrepreneur, become a better leader, and grow their businesses. So for us, getting into the incubation space or getting into the programs development part of our business was just natural for us to do.
Yeah.
Because we saw that there was a gap and we saw that we can provide that service to our entrepreneurs. So that's why we went ahead and do it.
I love the nurturing mindset that you established there. And, working with different partners and communities, are there any unique struggles and strengths that you noticed with Filipino entrepreneurs?
I've always believed that Filipinos are creative people. We have so much talent. I mean, like I've noticed that the more that I'm in this space, but even when I was abroad, Filipinos are not just hardworking, but they're also very able and talented.
Yeah.
And that's why I found it such a waste that, seeing Filipinos go abroad for better opportunities kind of broke my heart when I was living abroad and gave me more reason to go back to the Philippines and see how we can kind of change that narrative for the Filipinos. So
Keep our friends here.
keep our friends here and the opportunities are here if we create it for ourselves. And that's what I've always believed in, the creativity of Filipinos. And that's what I want to nurture in our community. And, parang that's also something that I want to champion and let other people know that Filipinos are capable of producing world-class products and services.
I agree. Yeah, and I'm sure you found some of those as well. And you've developed a lot, and I'm gonna interview them as well. What were some of the toughest challenges you faced when you were growing the Spark, and expanding the Spark?
Of course, so yeah, as an entrepreneur myself, I was a first time entrepreneur starting the Spark project. Of course, there are the challenges that we face are also funding related or just getting the right business model for us to be able to create a sustainable business out of what we were doing. Because we already love the job, we already love the work that we're doing. So it's just a matter of like how do we keep it alive and be able to pay the bills for us, right? So I'm happy that we were able to reach that point. But it took us some time to get there. Really took us some time to get to a certain level of sustainability as a business.
And what point did you realize, okay, we reached success? Like we are sustainable, we're sustaining this properly.
I think it's also trial and error. When we started, of course, we started out providing that crowdfunding platform and service, and then we realized that crowdfunding alone will not be able to sustain our overhead. So we had to also explore other ways of earning revenue and just trying out different things until we found that sweet spot of us developing that capacity and expertise in creating incubation programs or designing incubation programs for partners who are looking for someone who to do it for them.
Yeah.
And so we started with one project, and slowly we became two, and then we became more confident in presenting ourselves as an organization that designs and implements programs. And then we're lucky to be able to have projects that get to support this kind of activity or the service that we provide. So yeah, hopefully up until I guess the past 5 years, and it's been, I think it's only in the past 5 years where we found that sweet spot for us, how we position ourselves as a Spark project.
Yeah. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for supporting entrepreneurs in the Philippines?
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity for supporting entrepreneurs is in the early stages. This is like a maybe not popular opinion, because a lot would want to support entrepreneurs that are more established.
Of course.
But I think it's exciting for me to support entrepreneurs during the early stages.
Yeah.
And also that's where they're most needed. At the Spark Project, we tend to focus on these types of entrepreneurs who are at the beginning or early stages of their journey. It's more rewarding for us. And for me, that's where I find the excitement and the opportunity.
Great. Okay. Beyond money and funding, how do you see Spark continuing to help the entrepreneurs thrive? Like, when they got the ball rolling, do you have continuous support, or is there?
So I think I would say that a big factor to the success of the Spark project is the community and culture that we built. And us being able to create that community for entrepreneurs, for the creative and the conscious entrepreneurs that have gone through any of our programs, has crowdfunded with us. We're very proud to be able to nurture and create that space for them. And I think I would segue to Conscious Commons. So this is our latest baby. It's a space. So when we started the Spark project, we were a totally virtual team. We didn't have an office. I guess we would just co-work in different areas in the metro. But it was only this year where we decided to invest in our own space, because we found that community is very important, especially after COVID. After COVID, when we celebrated our 10th year anniversary, we had a celebration an in-person celebration after COVID of not 2 years plus of not seeing each other. And we saw the magic of our community in the spark, that happens when the community gathers. So that gave us more reason to really explore that. I think it's about time for us to have a space that we can call our own, where we can gather our community and even like-minded groups to gather. So that's why when the opportunity came, a space in Makati opened up, and then we grabbed that chance. We took the leap. We didn't know what to do with it, but we do know that we wanted a space where we can run all our programs and also create events for our community. So we took the leap and created Conscious Commons. And in a few months or next month, we'll be celebrating our 1 year anniversary at Conscious Commons.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely believe that you are who you hang with. And I think starting this community, that should be very inspiring to one another. And what kind of support really makes a difference for someone that's starting out, for an entrepreneur that's starting out?
I think aside from the usual training or like the business know-how that these programs provide entrepreneurs, and also funding that can be accessible through crowdfunding or other sources of fundraising activities, I would say community, being surrounded by people, like-minded people, and people who have gone through the same journey as you, maybe a few steps ahead, or maybe you're at that same place where you are at right now. There's really magic and beauty in surrounding yourselves with these kinds of people, because you can really learn a lot from them, and you can also support each other when you surround yourselves with them, and also surrounding yourselves with people who think the same way, in a sense, because you wouldn't want someone who is negative
Yeah.
or like a downer. It's good to get feedback, constructive feedback from peers who are out for your success. They want for you to succeed. Just keep away from people who
Sounds
just
like you have some
you know
experience.
just want to shut down your idea,
Of course.
right? So just surround yourself with positive vibes. Especially when you're starting out, you don't know if it's going to work out or not, but at least you tried, and if ever it doesn't work out, you learn, and then you do it again.
What if there's someone that comes in here and he has this idea,
Mm.
but you genuinely don't think it's
Mhm.
gonna work? Well, what do you say?
I mean, you have to also be honest with them,
Mhm.
at least coming from your own experience. Again, you speak from what you've learned, or like what you've experienced, right? So, yeah, just being able to provide that feedback. At the end of the day, the entrepreneur or the person who has the idea has the last say whether
Of
or
course.
not they would pursue it or not. But you don't just give, for me, you don't just give feedback for the
Yeah.
sake of giving feedback. You also provide for potential actions,
Of course.
recommendations of what they could do.
Yeah.
You don't just say like the idea is bad. You would
Yeah.
say like the idea might not work because it's so, but you might want to explore or want to try this route, and then let that person decide whether or not they would take
That's
the
fair.
feedback or
That's cool. That's an entrepreneurial consultation in that sense, huh? And what mindsets and habits help you push through these challenges to keep moving forward in your journey?
But again,
What habits have helped you
to continue
to continue
Me?
this journey?
real solid habits. Actually, quite recently, I don't think I keep the habits that I wanted to really build for myself. But what I can say is, to show up, being able to show up makes a lot of difference, especially during the bad days, or like days that you feel lazy. Showing up makes a lot of difference, because your body, your mind, will thank you after
Yeah.
you show up. And yeah, just keeping your core values and your reason for doing what you do in check all the time. Because yeah, when the tough days come, um, it's those core values, your why, that will you know get you going and would motivate you to show up.
So in a way, your habit is to think about your why. Is to think about
Can be
your habit is
always check back on your why.
That's good.
So it's a lot of introspection,
yeah, no, definitely.
and self awareness, and I think that's also something that I want to share for any kind of entrepreneur or founder. Self awareness is very important, and it's rooted to your own leadership.
Of course.
Being self aware would help you manage through the ups and downs of the journey.
I get that. Yeah, and that definitely helps anyone from any field. No, it does not necessarily just entrepreneurship.
So,
Well, we're done with all the questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That was Patch Dulay of the Spark Project, showing us that when community, vision, and persistence come together, great things can happen. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Work and Talk.
thank you.
Again, I am Julio, and this is Work and Talk on PH, your go-to podcast for lifestyle insights, career convos, and real estate realness, where chill convos meet real-life lessons because #it works.